Delta Skyclubs can be really intimidating, especially for the first few times. Like, where are you supposed to sit? Is the food free? Are the drinks free? How does it all work? So I put together this video to explain just that. So first, I guess, let's go over how to even get into a Delta Skyclub. So there are multiple different ways. I'm going to just go over the main 3 ways that I think is the easiest way to get into a Delta Skyclub, which are to buy an annual membership pass. So you can buy this annual membership pass as long as you're a Delta Sky Medallions member. However, this isn't the way that I personally recommend getting into a Delta Skyclub because it costs $695 just for one person. Now you can buy a family membership and that one will cost $1,495. That's good for yourself and 2 other guests. Oh, except if your guest is under 2 years old, they'll get in for free. Now, the reason why I don't recommend getting in this way, unless you're going to Delta Skyclubs a lot, is that you can just get the American Express Platinum card or Centurion card. These will give you the same access and restrictions as just buying the annual membership, other than the limited time visits on the American Express Platinum card. But if you're okay going into Delta Skyclubs 10 or less times per year, then the annual membership fee to get the American Express Platinum card costs the same as getting a Sky Club membership, $695. But with the American Express Platinum, of course, you're going to get so much extra other benefits, which I talk about in this video up here. And the third way to get in is also a credit card, the Delta Reserve credit card. The Delta Reserve gives a little bit more than the American Express Platinum card for a slightly lower annual fee of $650. You get 15 visits included per year, and you get 4 guest passes, which the American Express Platinum and the Sky Clubs membership does not give. Okay, so now you know how to get into a Delta Sky Club. What is it actually like to check into one? So for many Delta Skyclubs, I believe all of them now, they have 2 lines. They have the status member line and just the regular people line. And unless you have these Delta statuses, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to cut the line. Now, when you're checking in, you want 3 things: your boarding pass, your ID, and the method or way that you're getting into a Delta Skyclub, unless it's loaded into your Delta account, which it should show when they scan your boarding pass. Of course, it's always nice to have it just in case something doesn't go through. So there's 2 ways to check in. Usually there'll be either a self check-in type of thing where there's one agent and they'll oversee like 4 machines, or they'll have a counter. It really just depends on which Sky Club you go to. Now, I will say you can't go into a Delta Sky Club 3 hours before your departure time. Any earlier, and honestly, that'll be up to the Delta agent. Sometimes some Delta agents are cool and they'll let you in early, but some are not and are really strict on that 3 hours. However, the 3-hour rule does not apply to layovers. But there's also one interesting thing is that you can go to a Delta Sky Club on arrival. So you don't get this perk with a lot of airport lounges, but with Delta Sky Club, you can go to their lounges when you do land at your destination, which is really useful in case you needed to go to the bathroom, maybe you wanted to shower before actually going to your destination. It makes it a really useful benefit. Now, when you go into a Delta Sky Club, I know it can be really intimidating. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people walking around. It's actually fairly quiet compared to a regular airport terminal, which I find really interesting. But when you first walk into a Delta Sky Club, you'll see a bunch of seats. There's some seats that may be reserved, but it's maybe like 2 tables or something like that. Overall, it's first come, first serve. Now, if there's a bunch of stuff sitting on the table, it really depends what it is, because if it's food, maybe the Delta Sky Club attendants just haven't gotten to cleaning it up yet. But if there's luggage, if there's like clothing, it's probably being taken by someone else. So after you find your seat, you can leave all your stuff there and just kind of claim that seat. And then you can walk around the Sky Club a little bit. Most of them are set up pretty similar. There's a buffet, there's like a drink station, usually coffee, usually water, orange juice, apple juice, a tea area. There's also a bar area as well. Some Delta Sky Clubs have like a play area. There's the bathrooms. Even some Sky Clubs have showers, which is really interesting, which we'll go over here in a bit. But let's focus just on the food and drinks for right now. So yes, in the Delta Sky Club, food and drinks are completely free. Now let me clarify. For drinks, yes, the regular alcohols, you know, if you just want like a glass of wine, something easy to pour, that's free. But you can tip your bartender if you so choose. A lot of people at Delta Sky Clubs usually tip like $1, $2. You're really highballing it, you'll shell out your $5 bill. However, the cocktails at a Delta Sky Club are not free. You can either pay for this using a card, or you can pay for this using your Delta Sky points, which I find really interesting. But other than those, everything else is free. So if you go to the buffet where there's food, it's mostly hors d'oeuvres. You're not going to find like an actual entree meal, like tiny sandwiches, a couple like pastas that you can put on. When you go to a buffet, it works similar to, you know, what your hometown buffet. You grab a plate, it's usually under the buffet trays. You load up on stuff, and there's usually 2 lines. So there's one line from going to the right, one line going to the left. Both sides almost exactly, if not similar, same foods. So you can go on either side, just kind of choose one, and then you just load up your plate. Now, you don't want to load it up too much because you don't want to look like kind of crazy, but just know you can come back up and always get more. Oh, and one quick tip for the bar. If you want sodas and they don't have like a soda machine in the Sky Club, you can go up to the bartender and say, hey, can I have a can of ginger ale? And usually they'll give it to you. Now, maybe you're wondering like me, well, maybe you're not a scumbag like me. Can you take things out of a Delta Sky Club? And yes, you can. Usually when I go into a Delta Sky Club, if I want to pick up some extra fruit to bring with me to my destination, or just to honestly stuff it in my suitcase, I can do that. There's chips for you to take. There's some tea bags. I love the tea in the Delta Sky Club. I definitely take a lot. However, you cannot take the bananas. That is illegal. They will arrest you if you take the bananas. I don't know. That's a rule for some reason. And of course, if you make a cup of coffee just before you leave the Delta Sky Club, that's completely fine. There are bathrooms within the Delta Sky Club, and they're usually pretty nice. They're like floor to ceiling type doors, so you don't have to worry about, you know, people peeping in. It's usually pretty quiet in there. Some of them have like lights to see the occupancy. So if it's green, that means no one's in there. If it's red, that means someone's in there. Also in the bathroom, they have hand soap, you know, what you expect from a bathroom, but they also have lotion, which is, you know, a nice touch. Oh, and like I said, I mentioned that some Sky Clubs have showers, and yes, some of them do. If you want to access a shower, now it really depends on what you really want to do, but officially you can just find a Delta attendant and just ask them, hey, I would like to use the showers. Could you let me in there if they're locked? Most of the time, honestly, they're not locked, so you can just kind of go in there and just use them. Some of the Sky Clubs have a check-in tablet, so you can check in for a shower in there as well, but honestly it's kind of relaxed. And one major benefit that a lot of people don't talk about with the Sky Clubs is, you know, Sky Clubs, they're ran by Delta. If for some reason your flight, something goes wrong, it's like severely delayed, but you need to have like an earlier flight, you can go into that check-in area and go like, hey, my flight's delayed, could you switch me to a different flight? And usually because they have more authority, they can easily rebook you, no problem. Sometimes, of course, if there's availability. But it's a major benefit that a lot of people don't know about, because if you go up to a gate agent, you know, when you're boarding, there's the gate agent. That gate agent isn't as helpful as the one at the Sky Club. So if there's some problem, I would go back to the Sky Club and have it figured out with them rather than going to the gate agent, in my opinion. Now, how about your manners and what to expect in the Delta Sky Club? Because I made it sound like it's kind of like a free-for-all, but it really isn't. You have to remember, a lot of the people that are going into Delta Sky Clubs didn't just get in through their credit cards or something. A lot of them happen to actually have Delta statuses and book business class, a Delta 1 seat. So that means a lot of people that are in there are managers, CEOs. You don't want to act and look like a fool, right? So one thing that's interesting is I don't think there's actually kind of a dress code, as long as you don't, you know, look ridiculous or you have too much revealing, you should be good to go. I did see, it doesn't happen often, I did see some people who wear pajamas into a Sky Club. A lot of people actually end up wearing athletic wear, just jeans. Some people, of course, you know, they're business people, so they're always going to be wearing the suits, but there's not too strict of a dress code. Honestly, if you're going to be looking for, you know, kind of some sort of status in a Delta Sky Club, you actually notice most people show that through their luggages. So personally for me, I got got, you know, kind of cheap Samulite. I think that's the name of the company. I think I got it for like 50 bucks, and that's fine. You know, you bring it in, but I notice a lot of people end up getting some of the, you know, popular brands like the Way luggage. There's a couple Tumis in there and Ramoas. Personally, what I like to carry into a lounge is a Carl Friedrich that I got recently. I really like it. Now this one isn't as showy because usually the Carl Friedrich has like a brown leather band going through it. But sometimes when I do bring my brown leather one, a lot of people actually ask me about it. They're like, whoa, where'd you get that luggage? Which is another thing that I actually found really interesting when going into a lot of these airport lounges. It doesn't even apply to the Delta Skyclubs. People, when they go into these lounges, they don't care about their luggages. Like, not that they don't care. I don't know. I'm too afraid personally to leave my luggage by the seat. But a lot of people that go into airport lounges to claim their seat, or I guess they just don't want to carry around their luggage while trying to also carry around their food or drinks, they'll just leave their luggage there. And no one really bothers it. It's even crazier too. I've seen people leave their laptops, their cell phone, just everything on the table, and they don't care. They're just not afraid of anyone taking it, which, you know, if you're getting into a lounge for $700, I kind of get it, but also, I don't know. I don't trust people that much. Another thing that's interesting with the manners is that, you know, usually, I don't know, like again, maybe it's just me, you're expected to clean after yourself. But at Delta Sky Club, you do not clean after yourself. And don't do this because I've actually seen some of the employees yell at someone for cleaning up after themselves. And basically what I overheard, what the reason was, is that the employees have some sort of system to make sure that everything fits on the cart, everything stays clean. They don't want you to mess with their system. And also you're expected to enjoy yourself and not really clean up after yourself, not kind of work. You know, you're here, relax. So when you're done eating and everything, you just kind of lump it up into a tray, you know, and go like, oh yeah, of course, you know, if you put everything on your plate, obviously you're not eating off that anymore, like all your garbage, your napkins. So an attendant would come by and go like, hey, are you finished with this? And they'll just go ahead and take it, and then they'll be on their way. Okay, so you may be wondering, hey, if they're gonna be doing that, do you leave a tip after they clean up all your stuff, after you leave the Delta Sky Club? And personally, I haven't seen that happen before. I think other than those manners that you don't want to take off your shoes, you don't want to talk really loud on the phone, that's a really big one. And of course, you want to be nice and respectful to everyone. However, I think one other cultural difference when you go into a Delta Sky Club is be ready for the small talk. Like I said, a lot of people that go into a Delta Sky Club happen to be managers, CEOs, and they're just, you know, chatty people. They're talkative people. Just be prepared, and it happens quite often that when you're in line that someone might turn around and go like, hey, how was your day? Oh, da 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 da. And yeah, I think that's everything that you need to know about Delta Sky Club. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I hope watching this video made you feel more comfortable about experiencing a Sky Club. It's definitely a worthwhile experience. And yeah, I think that's about it, and I'll see you later. Oh, and real quick, before we end this video, Delta Skyclubs do have a takeout option. This option was introduced to prevent overcrowding. Maybe you just wanted the food, but you didn't necessarily need to go into the lounge. This was their solution for that, and this is how it works.
So we got the free stuff. She ended up giving me like 3 different meals because I set off my wife and my friends, so our friends being Calby and G, right?
So basically, this will count towards your visit if you're using like a credit card where it has limited visits. You haven't spent the $75,000. Before you check into the Delta Sky Club, on the side, it's usually like a little booth. There'll be like a to-go section. And just like the Delta Sky Club, you want to hand over your documents that shows that you're allowed to be in the lounge. And then they'll make a little goodie bag for you. So usually you can get one entree, you can get a snack, and you can get a drink. Now, if you ask nicely, they might give you something extra, especially if your friend is kind of cool. They might give you 2 sandwiches. It's always worth asking, which makes it a decent option if you are already checked into a Sky Club and maybe you're at a layover, but it's a quick layover. Just grab something real quick to go.